lot to look at. Flash mob. What's the lost generation?
What?
Welcome. I'm joined with the native white, Brandon Semineta.
That is me.
Now, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions.
Okay, sure.
Alright. What is the lost generation?
Oh, well, a group of writers from the 1920s.
No, stop! Sorry, Brandon, but you're dead wrong. I guess that question was a little too tricky for you. But here's the answer. The Lost Generation is a group of writers who emerged after the First World War and lasted until the 1930s, primarily living in Europe. They are known for a lack of faith in humanity and a rejection of the American dream. The generation was lost in the sense that its inherited values were no longer relevant in the post-war world. They criticized the U.S. for being hopelessly provincial, materialistic, and emotionally barren. Additionally, the phrase signifies a disillusioned post-war generation characterized by lost values, lost belief in the idea of human progress, and a mood of futility and despair leading to hedonism. World War I seemed to have destroyed the idea that if you acted virtuously, good things would happen.
Hello. I'm here with
Michael.
Sasano. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. Who is F. Scott Fitzgerald, and how is he in the Lost Generation?
He was the person who wrote The Great Gatsby.
Better luck next time, Mike. But Fitzgerald actually moved to Paris to join a growing community of American artists and writers, drawn to France for its inexpensive cost of living, liberal sexual codes, great bars, numerous presses, and magazines willing to publish them. In France, they were able to meet up with other notable writers. The group of writers, most notably Gerard Stein and Ernest Hemingway, served as a peer review group and friends. Hey! Hello, I'm here with the Grace Michael. Now, how was the Lost Generation integrated into the Great Gatsby?
What?
Wrong.
Come on, Grace. You should know this. Did you read the book? There are two main ways how the Lost Generation was incorporated into the Great Gatsby. First was the lavish parties of the man himself, Gatsby. The Lost Generation writers revealed the sordid nature of the shallow, frivolous lives of the young and independently wealthy in the aftermath of the war. We can see this in the new wealthy class, East Egg, where Gatsby's parties are all place for the new generation to get drunk and live immorally, truly expressing the shallowness of the youth. Another theme of the Lost Generation was the idealized past. Rather than face the horrors of warfare, many workers created an idealized but unattainable image of the past, a glossy image with no bearing in reality. The best example is Gatsby's idealization of Daisy, his inability to see as she truly is, and the closing lines to the novel after all its death and disappointment. Ultimately, the Daisy Gatsby wanted her to be was in huge contrast to the real Daisy.
Hello, I'm Jordan with Luther Brown. Now, what is the plot of Great Gatsby? How is it affected by the Lost Generation?
I didn't read the book.
He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Oh geez, Producer Louie, next time read the book. As we already mentioned, the Lost Generation influenced the Great Gatsby in that it revealed the loss of moral values and codes. Additionally, it had exposed the common theme of the idealistic path and parties that embellished the time period. However, another way the Lost Generation influenced the plot was through its emphasis placed on the gender roles and the breaking of many gender stereotypes as well. Women had more freedom and power than ever before, and they exercised their rights to full capacity in the 1920s. The book revolves around Gatsby's quest for Daisy, and we can see the huge shift of women's rights through this conflict. Daisy is more independent and allowed to be more exposed to the real world than any other woman from an earlier time period, thus highlighting the new flapper way of life.
Hello, I'm joined with Kelsey Fringer, Jack Saunders' girlfriend.
Hey!
Oh my God. Now, how is the theme of The Great Gatsby affected by the Lost Generation?
How is it?
I just answered this. I've never read that book.
Hello, I'm here with Colin Boyce. Now, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. How was the theme in The Great Gatsby affected by the Lost Generation?
They wrote
You're wrong.
stuff.
Colin, what the crap is that crap? Colin, I thought you knew this one. The theme of The Lost Generation is, it's the quintessential tale of the glory and the tragedy of American aspiration. We can see this in the Valley of Ashes, where the American dream is crumbled and the people that populate it have no hope. This provides an alternative to the hedonism, the alcoholic orgies, and the hijinks of the wealthy. Additionally, the emptiness of Gatsby's mansion after Jay's death leads the reader to see the tragedy that has overcome the new generation. Fitzgerald's view of the 20s was serious and complex, for he recognized the glamour as well as the waste, the charm as well as the self-destruction.
Hello, I'm here with Mr. Alfred. How is the characters of The Great Gatsby affected by the Lost Generation? That's my microphone. You should know this, Mr. Alfred. Fitzgerald saw a moral emptiness in wealthy American society of the 1920s. The Lost Generation represents moral loss, which plays heavily into the Great Gatsby character decisions. Ramshackle with cheating, drinking, abuse, murder, and deceiving acts. Furthermore, the lifestyle of the characters took a toll. They drank heavily, they fought viciously, they flirted with other people, highlighting the lack of morals of the wealthy and middle-class Americans.